All right. Welcome back to the Jay Wheeler Podcast Show. I am your host, the one, the only Jay Wheeler. How y'all doing on this Sunday? Last Sunday of the month of November. Shout out to Sunday Funday, though. Hopefully everyone has had a good Thanksgiving and a Black Friday. I enjoyed myself, I would say, for the most part. Didn't do any shopping, though. Just kind of relaxed, caught up on some gaming, things like that, you know? But I'm here today to talk to you guys about some stuff going on in the movie world, some wrestling stuff, of course, and just pretty much my usual, send off, as far as where I want to go. I believe in my last video where I left off at is just reflecting, I guess, looking for change, kind of still figuring things out. And so with that being said, we're going to jump into the wrestling because that is just hot right now. And after last night's event, I'm just like, dude, I'm going to talk about this. Even if it's just brief, whatever, but just for me, not every chance I get to have with my friends, on the phone and stuff like that. So for my sake, I was like, let me just get all this information out, all this stuff out. So last night was Survivor Series, right? Didn't have too much expectations, but I was excited because, this is one of WWE's top tier shows. For the longest time, Survivor Series has had, numerous surprises, new debuts, returns, good matches. So all that stuff, I was looking forward to, but just didn't really kind of want to expect too much, I didn't, coming into this too, I have this weird way of knowing storylines without even watching the daily shows, the weekly shows, I should say. It's just in me to kind of get caught up, I should say, right around the time where, boom, here comes the big card. And I remember me kind of poking at Crown Jewel a little bit, just tuning in, seeing what I can, grab from there. Because I know what type of show that is, yet it still can be entertaining sometimes, Not every show has to be a 5-star or killer match, killer card. But I just feel like lately with WWE, I like to just watch at my own pace. Just because, me being the diehard fan that I'm in, it's so easy to get sucked in. And then next thing you know, you just feel disappointed more and more and more because I, for one, grew up watching wrestling when it was in the glory days, when it was at its peak, when it was at this, when it was at that. And for the past couple of years, just been rocky. So, but Survivor Series. Now, there's a lot of context going into this show, right? But I tried my best to just be present, be in the moment. I had a lot going on today, yesterday as well, too, with the college footballs. All this stuff needed to happen. So whatever information that I had as far as who's going over this, that, and the third, it was gone. Kicking off the night was the match with the women. And I honestly want to say, in the bottom of my heart, those women are just amazing, fantastic. And it's like they get better and better. This year, I feel alone, the women have been phenomenal. Everyone that was in that match, I felt deserved to be there. They made it work. And it just left me saying, wow. One of my favorite spots of the whole entire night was that spot in which you already know what I'm going to say. That body press with the trash can. Dude, holy crap! I've seen some cool stuff, but just for that sake of shock value, I can't even tell you when's the last time I got excited for someone to do something like that. I was blown away. Charlotte's moonsault as well was fantastic. However, I mean, how it was set up, but I'm not gonna take away the athleticism that still she showed doing that moonsault. Again, when giving an opportunity, I feel like, and the right opportunity, when people can just show off what they want to do, they can make so much magic in that ring. I always said having restrictions in a wrestling ring is wild to me. Wild, because certain people might feel comfortable doing certain stuff. Now, I get it for the sake of hazards and you know, safety and all that stuff, but man, when someone is trying to do something not only to elevate the business but also for themselves, to prove something to themselves, I feel like there's got to be a line drawn, you know, and I feel like that match really just said, hey, listen, just go out. Just go out there, make some magic, do what you got to do, because like they reached that point where they need to be putting on good matches at these big cards. Like, that's what it has come down to, and that's what it should be moving forward. I get it. It was gray areas. It was this, and it was that, and it's third. But, like, that pool of women that was in that ring, I got a chance to see the old, the present, and the new. The Four Horsemen. And then, you know, the select few that's, like, kind of right now. You know, the Bayley's group. And then up and coming Shotzi, you know, because she's not really looked at a lot, but that was a good chance for fans to get behind her, stuff like that. So I definitely felt that was so good to have those they had the right women in that match. And I would give that match a 4 out of 5 too. Can't give it the 5 stars because of the finish. I honestly felt like I just didn't want to see Bianca's team go over. I mean, my God, you literally had Charlotte, Becky, and her. Like, that's just overkill right there. If they would have had, like, one more person, like Nia Jax, it would have been suicide. Like, that to me, that was just, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I did not mean to say that word, sorry, cut that out. But, no, but all seriousness, though. Good match. I just preferred Bayley's group to gone over. But anyway, I want to talk about that Miz match real quick. Miz versus Gunther. To me, Miz is a great wrestler. I hesitated because I wanted to like try to like separate like ring ability from mic skills, but no. When you combine both of them, I say he's great. So I'm gonna leave with that. Gunther, however, has this reign, and it's not sure yet, to my knowledge, when that streak is gonna be broken. But I said for tonight, for the sake of tonight, anything can happen. You know? I'm happy that I was able to get into that space versus like, oh, Miz is going to lose. I was able to have fun with the match. Miz really showed me something that I've never seen him do ever before, you know? Because at this point, we know Miz puts people over. But at Survivor Series, it was so interesting how he went about, like, his approach, you know? It's like him doing the whole taking out Gunther's leg, like his knee, was genius. Because I say, you know, of course, this guy, you know, he's a big guy, tall guy, you know, inflicts pain, this, that, and the third, but he's still human. And Miz proved that. To me, like, that, showing the realism of a guy who can get hurt, who can bleed, was perfect for Miz, because he's not a big guy, and the Miz just does what he needs to do, you know, whatever's necessary to win. That's how he always has been. So him approaching with that was gold. And then there was spots in the match where, you know, taking off the turnbuckle, low blows, all this stuff that made me say, like, yo, like, this was properly set up. They were able to really actually make it feel like Miz had a chance of beating Gunther. Whether you already had the information he was going to lose, whatever or not, it's the fact that, take away all that, just look at this for the sake of the match. Miz proved that he was able to hang in there. And you got to keep in mind, he's an 8-time Intercontinental Champion. And I remember they gave a statistic that all of the Miz's reigns as Intercontinental Champion doesn't even like hold up to Gunther's long reign now, which I was like, that's wild. But you know, again, Miz is never a guy that has long title reigns. He's a transitional champion, they like to call it. You know, when they need someone to hold the belt down for 3 months because someone got popped drug test and is suspended, or this person got hurt, whatever. Miz is the guy you put the belt on just to hold it for a couple of months until they can figure out who can they put as the champion to be the long term. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. That's great. But yes, I really, for like a split second, thought Miz had a shot. And I'm happy because I really needed to see good matches on the card like this. I do. Good match. I'm going to give that a 4 out of 5 too, just because Miz, being the veteran, was able to kind of, you know, have a good approach, hang in there, and just come up short. And at the end of the day, if that was someone else, they probably would have lost in a short amount of time, but the Miz, being the veteran that he was, great. Good match, 4 out of 5. Would have gotten 5 and Miz would have went over. All right. What we got next? We have... I'll talk about the Rhea Ripley match. I'll talk about it. It's just going to be brief. Zoe Stark, I think, was a good competitor to represent that spot. However, I just feel like as I'm watching this, I'm trying to figure out something. This was weird too. Again, this card really made me scratch my brain because I had a feeling Rhea was gonna go over. So let's just start with that. I just wanted to see how this person was gonna make a name for themselves. What were they gonna do to stand out? What were they gonna do to get over with the crowd? This, that, and the third. And all I could think of is just that spot where, you know, she did the corkscrew splash. That was to me her best spot. However, though, I see strength there. I see hard work there. These are all good things to have as a person who's getting their feet wet, who's, you know, just trying to get in, you know. And her being under the leadership with Trish Stratus is even great for Zoe Stark's character. However, I just couldn't figure her out. And I said it's just going to take some time. But good win for Rhea because, you know, she beat someone who was a strong competitor, just young, up and coming. It's not there yet. However, though, I do think the next opponent has to be someone of a more significant caliber because I'm all for the Ripley train, the mommy train, whatever you want to call it. But I feel like she had a couple of stops where, you know, the visit wasn't exciting. You know, I feel like she needs to get off this stop, get back on the train, and hopefully the next town she can pretty much have a blast. Because the problem is when you want to keep a champion, you know, for a long period of time, you run out of ideas, or you run out of how to keep that momentum. 3 months ago, I felt like she was in a good spot, you know, because, you know, there's just SummerSlam and all this stuff. But then now it's like we're reaching that end of the year phase where you don't really expect too much for a belt to drop, but you just still want something exciting. So I don't know who else could have been in that position. Because at the same time, it's like you also want to make sure that whoever you do put in there, they can also hold it down as well, too. I think where they're trying to figure out right now is who can they give to her that's going to make it impactful, more meaningful, you know. So as long as they work on that, then hopefully the next pay-per-view, because definitely by Rumble, she's going to have that opponent, you know, that's going to be the one to either dethrone her or give her the best run she could possibly have. But we have to go with like 1 or 2 more months of it just kind of being a little ice cold. Not ice cold, but just not as hot. So, but the match, I'll give it a 3. Only because it to me, Rhea did what she would do. Zoe kind of gave it a fight. But I was trying to just figure out the whole match. I just felt like it was there, but I was like, yeah, you know. And then, lastly, sorry if I'm missing anything, but these are the ones that was like highlighted for me. The men's match. The men's match to me was. I like the women's match better, but the men's definitely. The good thing about the men's match was Randy Orton and CM Punk showing up. Not trying to take away from the guys in there, you know, but I just really felt like, you know, everyone just did a good job to make the match good, so the match couldn't be bad. So it was like everyone did a good job, but I don't know. A match of that, like, it just, to me, I like that it's long. Like, stuff like that, you know, because everyone has to, what's it called? Like, you know, get their licks in, and then they have a time limit and all that. So it makes the match go a little bit longer. So you have to keep entertaining as well. There weren't any boring moments in the match. However, though, I don't know. Like, when there's not a lot of matches on the card, like triple threats or, you know, fatal four, stuff like that, then it's like all you have to look forward to is these long, big matches. And then it's just going to come down to how much time was utilized, you know, who looked good, who didn't, what's the finish. I felt like I couldn't really just adjust to just wanting to figure out the storyline. I feel like this whole time I'm just like a bunch of people just doing a bunch of spots and a bunch of stuff is going on. There's 3 different rings. It's just a lot. I like when it's just like the main focus with something and then you tell the story. It's like 10 guys in a ring, so it's just so much stuff going on. I'm just like, I just don't see a story. And keep in mind, too, you know, Randy Orton isn't in the match. So he's not in the match, but you're caring about him. So I'm not even caring about what's really going on in the match. I'm worrying about what's going to be the outcome. And that's bad because I want to care about the guys in the ring and what they're doing. But Randy Orton is a huge deal. A huge deal. Then on top of that, we got the whole CM Punk thing, and we're going to talk about that. But when Randy Orton came out, at the moment he did, which I expected it, I was like, cool. He had his pop. That was a great pop. I clapped. I was happy because I was just like, all right, now we got our guy who can dethrone Roman. Because the way I see it is that Randy Orton's coming back. You got to do something with him to keep his momentum hot. You can't just play, all right, you know, here's a faction, you know, or we're just going to put him in mid-card. But I was like, you know, let him get his rubs in right now, you know, and RKO, this, that, power slams, all that stuff. They get the finish, you know. They just completely go over once Orton gets in. It was like the superpowers just have risen. And then, you know, 1, 2, 3, cool. Randy Orton, good return. Now, CM Punk comes out. And it was one of those, like, I don't know, I expected him to be in uniform. I expected him with long hair. I don't know what. It's the music cute, the crowd popped. And I text my friends, too, before the night even started. I said, Survivor Series, baby. CM Punk, baby. And, of course, I got the responses that I, you know, was expecting, which was, you know, non-believers and me to, you know, telling me to keep my 2 cents, you know, to myself, this, that, and the third. But what do you know? Justin was right. I was right. And CM Punk came out. Now, when he finally, like, you know, curtains lifted and he's out, I was impressed because he looked healthy. CM Punk looked like, you know, he was always a skinny fat guy, Triple H would say. Me and my friend, we always make that joke. But he looked like he put some meat on, put some protein on, put some weight on. And he came, I was like, yo, it's something about, he looks like, I don't know, it looked different. This CM Punk looks promising to me. Like, I felt like a good, like, energy when his music cued and he came out. It was just something different that I felt. And I was like, yo, he looked like he could probably have a good solid 5 good matches and he can be out of the company. I don't need him to prolong his return to be 2 years, 3 years. Honestly, I said, give him a good WrestleMania match, give him a good SummerSlam match, give him a good Royal Rumble match, and then just cash out one more year with the WrestleMania match, and he could be on his way. Because with the 10 years he's been out of the company, he did his stuff outside, blah, 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 signed the third. But to come back, because they always do, he got a little bit of gas in the tank. But I don't want them to lose the momentum and to waste his momentum and to waste his time and energy as well too. CM Punk can argue, well, since I'm being back in the company, I want this, that, and the third. No small stuff. Granted, they might tell him not, they might have some restrictions, but I think CM Punk definitely wanted to do something with the run he's, coming into this. So him and Triple H definitely figured something out. And also read in reports too that this was like a last minute change. Like no one knew about this. It was like 5 minutes, like they was able to get this like before all this stuff like transpired. So it was like really close to the chest. And he just walked into the arena like right when all this stuff is going on. Like nobody saw him. Just came straight in and then boom, cue the music. So they did a really good job. Because again, in this day and age with technology and everyone reading reports, we all knew this was coming. We wanted it to happen. But waiting like that close to when it was like the show was almost done, kudos to Triple H. He kept it under the wraps, And it fulfilled everyone's fantasy that he was showing up. Because with the match concluding and the show's about to go off the air, it was like, you thought you was going to get him. And then he came out. So it was like perfect. 10 out of 10 execution on that too. So it's like now we have something to look forward to. And this is what I was looking for. Because we were literally, after that SummerSlam, going into the fall, winterish, it was like, what is going to happen? And we needed this spark so bad as wrestling fans. Because now we can have Randy Orton shake things up. And we can have CM Punk shake things up. And we're already seeing that feud already advertised. CM Punk versus Seth Rollins versus Mania for the belt. Because that's just bread and butter right there. What's best for business. There was even a video that surfaced of CM Punk or Seth Rollins' reaction after all that stuff happened. And we all know those two don't like each other because Seth had said what he had to say, but then to see CM Punk showed up, it was like, damn, Seth was running his mouth. And you got to know at this point, man, guys come back. They come back. And when all that stuff is like being talked about, all the trash talking, it just makes good for headlines. So kudos, Seth's probably not happy with it, but Triple H is like, listen, man, I'm in the driver's seat now. And something like this between you two guys means dollar signs and means it's best for business as well too, which is what Triple H has honestly been advocating for the past 10 years now as he was, concluding his run as a wrestler. But yes, he's always wanted what's best for business. And right now we're in a good time. I feel like it's going to be great going into Mania from here on out, and the storylines are about to start cracking because we got a lot to do. And Seth versus CM Punk, WrestleMania for the belt. Oh my God. I don't want to talk about how the finish could be. I'm going to just let it marinate in my head because this is all still hitting me. And then we got Randy Orton, which we don't even know what can happen with that. Again, he's been out for a year and a half. That year and a half, he probably would have been stuck with someone doing this tag team, doing this, doing that. Nah, I feel like you just got to rush him right into whatever it is, plans you got that's big, and, go from there. Because we need something right now. With Roman not being the main picture of anything anymore, we need something to hold us down. And CM Punk and Randy Orton is like literally what we got, and that is literally enough. Even if you want to throw Cena in there a couple of times too, just to get the ratings up, whatever. But right now is a good time. I feel strongly about it. I'm happy to be a wrestling fan. What a time. Next, I want to talk about my movie stuff real quick. Reach out to you. So, I want to talk about what's going on with movies that are being made today. The strike just ended. Congratulations to that, right? But I think moving forward, how movies should be made is they should be made with passion. They should be made with love. I think the time to just put stuff out and all that is ended. Rushing, lack of character, lack of story, lack of everything. And again, I mean, this all just comes down to, excuse me, woo. Oh, that's a triple whammy. Everything comes down to money. It takes money to make money. And I think once you have that recipe and then you keep doing it over and over and over, you lose the originality. You lose what something could have been. I don't know what was the plans for some of these movies, but I do know that the outcome just didn't hit. Execution could have been great, but the execution just didn't deliver. So many movies, I can honestly say, just from this year alone, not even gonna include last year, but just this year, I felt like there was some great hits, and then there were just some movies that came out, and you wonder like, what is going on, you know? The strike served its purpose. Now, and I'm just speaking off of what is just going on. Everything is already out there. You can Google the information. All the stuff is there. I'm just looking at it from my perspective. The strike served its purpose because there was a lack of a lot of things going on. Whether if it was directing, writing, producing, just anything that has to do with making a movie not succeed the way it should be. All that stuff happened. I had nothing to do with that. But I just want to see the film industry grow and get better. And I think coming into this too was like they haven't had a strike in like 30 years, something like that. But I just want to see the film industry grow. I've been saying this for the longest time too. When it came to the MCU movies, it was great for its time. But then once I saw that kind of taking a toll and going places, and then you had this genre wanting to go left with creativity, and then you had certain actors wanting to be compensated and being compensated, but also wanting to be the stars, and all this stuff was just boiling over to the point where it was like it's a standstill, you know? Whether if it's higher pay, equality, wanting to use your platform to talk about political stuff, this, that, and the third. It's like everything was just growing and expanding and evolving as time was going on. But we were missing the big picture of how about we just make movies? Doesn't matter what skin color you are. Doesn't matter where you come from. Just focusing on a story to tell for people, they're going to get behind it whether they like it or not. It might not happen right then and there, but in time, a story can always hit someone at different moments of their life. I watch movies that was from way long ago, but it might not hit me right in there because, one, I could have not been around that time period. Number two, I might have had something going on in my head at the time. But a good story will make you want to come back to it, that will want you to scratch your brain. And I feel like we just need to get back to that, you know? Every 10 years, there's always something to make the genre switch up, change. Maybe even kind of slow it down a little bit. But though in times like that that's when you rise. Because, things can't go so bad forever, you know? It's okay, we're human too, you know? Not everyone's gonna write the best thing ever. You can be consistent, but then just a simple transition might not work out because, again, when you're working hard, times are working hard as well too, to change, to transition, to evolve. So you're always going to be on your toes working on something. And every 10 years, whether if it's music, movies, whatever, There has to be a rebuild, a restructure, because you're trying to push something, then you have to adjust. And we're going to adjust. Some of the best movies I've seen this year were Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer was a great film. Hell, I'll even throw in like Scream 6, and it's sad what's going on with that as well too, with the production and all that stuff. And I don't want to cover that because that's just a lot of talking. And I'm not someone who likes to cover gossip and cover stories. I just like to talk about the things that I like on my podcast. But yeah, I enjoyed Scream 6 this year. I enjoyed a lot of movies, in fact. And I'm just saying, I just saw the Hunger Games movie too, and I read the book. Congratulations to that too. I read a book and then saw a film, which was something that I've been picking up on for the past couple of years, and I can honestly say I love that feeling. It's always a coin flip because it can either go 50-50, but sometimes the experience can help bring out a little bit more joy to you. And I enjoyed reading The Hunger Games, The Ballad of the Songbirds and Snake, and then when I saw the film, I thought it was a 3 out of 5 stars for me. But like it's just things like that. I'm trying to give these movies the chance that they deserve because I know we can all be better. And me enjoying movies is what I love to do, and I like reading too, whether it's a book or a script. But yes, I'm gonna be doing a list pretty soon for all the movies that I've seen this year, and which ones were that stood out to me more. Now, it's easy to say top 5, top 10, but I feel like I just want to say what were some movies that surprised me more. Again, this is just all speculation, Lists are going to be made for a lot of stuff to close out this year. I'm just going to have to figure it out. What is it that I want to cover? But definitely expect a list of some movies, some top 5s, top 10s, what I like, we'll keep it at what I like. Because, last year, the door opened up for movies to get better. This year, it felt like it was there, but And then the strike kind of didn't help it at all. So I'm looking forward to next year really being the breakout, but maybe not so much because with everything being delayed and rewritten, I don't know. And what is that saying? You kind of have to get through the bad to get to the good. It might be a good solid year to two where, with those rewrites and stuff, it might not look good, but the genre is going to get better. It's just when you have to rewrite stuff and everything, it changes the direction of the boat. But I'd rather that than it be Rocky. So, and we don't got a Creed coming after that either, so that was a good send-off too. But yeah. Anything else that I have missed as far as covering all that stuff? No. So I think we're going to reach the part where I'm going to conclude and give you guys something to end on. And it's going to be whatever it is you're going through in life, tell yourself, let me go through it. Let me make that mistake. Because guess what? Making those mistakes means you're learning, and when you're learning, you have a chance to grow. I always thought that doing good and excelling means you're growing, which it does. But at the same time, being down means the same thing. You're learning and you're growing. I, myself, am human. And I'm trying to get through so many things in life right now. And everyone has vices. Everyone has problems, etc. I'm just learning how to deal with it differently. I'm learning to get better. I'm learning just who I am as a person. Every time I think I got it figured out, I'm always like, nah, I need to figure myself out again. But what's most important is that once I learn enough, then I'll be able to make those changes. And they'll be big changes. Because if you take little steps, it brings out the bigger picture. And I feel like I've been making the little steps because when I tried to make those big leaps, it ended up having me fail. So the little leaps turn into big dreams. Big dreams turns into goals. Goals turns into accomplishments. Accomplishments turns into success. And that's what I'm going to end up having by the end of this year is success, because I'm going to look back at all the things that caused me problems, pain, suffering, defeat, whatever, and I'm going to say, well, this is what I'm doing to transition to make it better with a new year and a fresh start, new beginning. So I'm going to leave you with that, folks. I hope you enjoyed my show. Have a wonderful evening. And remember, that's life.